Welcome to Fire Takes Podcast, where we find the coolest stories on the internet and have hot takes on them from a money point of view.
Let's get right into it. Our first story comes from the Our Fire subreddit. It is curious how others have found like-minded partners financially. This is a 25 male working in finance, probably has a vest. Always been introverted, never cared to go out to clubs, parties, etc. Outside of work, I don't consistently go anywhere other than the gym. In my spare time, I do like to travel. Having the spare time to do more of it is one of the bigger reasons I'm chasing Fi. Tried Hinge, Tinder, even the Fire dating app, which no one seems to be active on. I see all of these posts on here talking about how much of a cheat code it is to partner with someone who's financially on the same page. Obviously, there's more to relationship than finances, but it would be nice to find someone who's on the same page or willing to get on the same page. How did you find your partner? Were they financially responsible when you met? And did they change over time?
That can definitely be tough to find for somebody who doesn't want to leave their house or it works a lot.
Oh, yeah. So my dating experience was kind of short, and money was an important part of my life, but it wasn't as central as maybe it was in your life during really your entire dating career, right?
I wouldn't say career like I was some sort of professional about it. I really wish it hadn't been that long. But yeah, being a woman who earns a decent living, especially in my general geographic area of the Midwest, made it more difficult, I think, than if I had earned less money. Simply because then I got up against insecurities and I had a couple partners who found out how much I make and dumped me because, yeah, who knows?
That's an interesting state, because I came into this conversation thinking we were talking more about your net worth, right? I've got this big pile of money, but for you, it was more than just your net worth, right? It was even your income as a relatively successful 20 something, 30 something. You ran into problems on that as well.
Honestly, the income was a good winnowing effect on people because the people who didn't like the fact that I earned more than them did not find out about the fact that I had a higher net worth than them either. And at the time when I was running into a lot of this, I was younger and didn't have quite the hefty net worth that I have nowadays.
Got it. So it helped you weed out people who maybe would have rubbed up against your FI plan, your savings, your financial responsibility anyway, right?
Yep. But it's all luck of the draw and a numbers game, dating is, especially online dating like Hinge or Tinder. You have to just keep going through people until you find somebody that has some sort of similarities that you're looking for, and you can winnow down from there. But the more people that you meet, the more you have the chance to find somebody that's compatible with you. I met somebody who was a really good match for me at work, actually, which makes sense because we were both high earners. We were both pretty smart and pretty good at our jobs. And that would have been great had that worked out. But he didn't think the whole financial independence thing was going to work out. So he wasn't willing to support me in my old age when things didn't work out. So we are still friends to this day. But yeah, relationship wise, did not work out.
Sure. Well, what do you think about OP here? So this is a young guy. So it's different, right? The gender dynamics change his situation because there are very few, if any, women who are going to be intimidated by the earning potential of a male partner, right? So
Oh yeah, no, that's a definite pro. I believe there's been multiple songs written about how high earning men ain't looking for no gold digger.
That's right. Yeah. So with him, it's really more about how do you find that non-gold digger that you feel safe to say, oh, by the way, I've got a few $100K in the bank and I'm probably only going to work. Well, it balances, right? Because it's cool. I've got a few $100K in the bank, pro. By the way, I'm going to stop working when I'm 40. Like that could turn off some partners, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Get used to living high in the hog, and then boom, the golden cow gets sacrificed, and all of a sudden now you might not be able to do the same things. But that's a completely different topic for a different time, because I have thoughts about that too. But I think OP should try getting into cheese making, and then find a cute girl that lives nearby and leave a wheel of cheese on her doorstep. It worked for one couple that I saw on Threads.
Oh, okay. The
They're like,
wheel of
really?
cheese.
Rarely do you see two introverts together. Usually you find the one extrovert who's like, "Hey, introvert, you're mine now."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then,
I
you
claim you
just,
with this wheel of cheese.
I claim you with this wheel of cheese. It would have worked on me, to be honest. Like, women love cheese, so that's a great spot. But honestly, OP, I know that you're an introvert, but you got to get out there and meet people. You can do young professional group meetups, find a hobby that you like and think is interesting, preferably one with more of a female presence. If you want a nice introvert lady, I would suggest some sort of crafting, knitting or crocheting or quilting. But then again, that comes with other financial considerations like hoarding of supplies for all of the crafts out there. Constant runs to Michael's and Joanne's. So, that could be a problem too. But you go to the library. Introverts like going to the library to get books. So you just got to try and find your people. Obviously, going out to clubs, parties, that's probably not going to be the scene to find somebody for you. But
And he also mentions here, how much of a cheat code is it to partner with someone who's financially on the same page? Oh, a cheat code.
don't even get me started. I am pretty sure that I just did my entire 20s on my hard mode, because being linked with you financially is, I don't even know, juicing my finances. It's like steroids, like just bury bonds, just get it in there and just
Right. Yeah. No, it is important. And I can feel OP's sense of urgency. And I understand the benefits of having that partner that he could potentially realize are pretty tremendous.
and I would say that you're not evaluating their specific financial habits when you get with a new partner, but you can evaluate their overall attitudes and approach to money. Are they ordering DoorDash all the time? Are they going out shopping all the time? Are they saving money into their 401k? There's signals that people have that will tell you a lot about the state of their relationship with money.
Okay, cool. Anything else with here? We have another story on topic here. We're actually doing a topic episode. This one will be, maybe the differences are subtle. Maybe it's a good time to move on and see what we have for the next
Take it away.
next
Take number
contestant.
2. Get it? Take away.
All right. This one also from Our Fire. As I said, it's similar. Things are getting serious. Advice request. So when would you start dropping numbers with a partner? Our relationship is getting serious about 3 months, but spending all the time together and going through a surgery situation maturing very fast. I have talked on my desire to achieve financial independence. He knows I have plans in a very complicated Excel file.
So sexy.
Yeah. But he knows I don't like it when he sees it. See, you hide it under a bushel, and then you don't know how sexy it is. I believe his net worth is slightly higher than mine, or maybe similar, but my salary is at least 1.5x. I told him my salary was the net after taking out investments and payments and such. He is always talking about spoiling each other, but I don't feel that comfortable because I'm in the fire lifestyle and it's not fair for him to spend money on me like that when I actually make more than him and I save more percent than him. So I am always proposing cheaper plans. I am the one taking us in public transport and such. He's not a big spender either, very minimal lifestyle, but likes to splurge, especially when it comes to each other. So how would you start to talk about fire, about money. Is this the right time? Any update, adding a little bit of context here. We do go on dates, but our ways of splurging are a bit different. Recommend Your Rich Life from Renee Sadie. All right. So this OP has found her person, maybe even has a little bit of money.
So you could say it's getting kind of serious.
Right. So it's pretty serious.
I think 3 months is actually a pretty good time to start talking about money. Some people get turned off when you start talking money too early. Some people are freaks and like to talk about money right away. Us. So I think that's probably about the right time to start laying out your intentions. This is the time to start having those conversations. What do you want your life to look like? Do you want kids? How much parental involvement is there in your life? What do you want to do career wise? Do you need to have any more advanced schooling? Like all those things are things that you can discuss to figure out where your person is in relation to you and see if there's any sort of, like, common ground to have.
Right. And these are also really good real conversations that you can have with your partner that will help you build that rapport, that trust that you need to grow that relationship. I do think it's interesting. She talks about going through a surgery situation which matured the relationship. And I could see that going through something difficult where one of you is there to support your partner. They're growing together very quickly. And these talks I don't think are out of pocket at 3 months by any means.
Yeah, no, I think the problem here is their different approach to spending money, and he wants to talk about spoiling each other and, like, spending money on each other and doing fun things together. It's He's not a big spender either, very minimal lifestyle, but he likes to splurge, which he has built into his budget. Theoretically, he can afford it. But OP is just very minimal in general. She is going to have to figure out how much flex there is in her budget and whether or not she wants to be in a serious relationship with someone or she wants to retire early, because an approach to like that to relationship is not a great one.
Gotcha. Yeah, it occurred to me as I'm reading this and I'm thinking about it and you're talking about it, how on the nose this is with our situation, right? So we met, I guess I had a slightly higher net worth, but your salary is lower. But still, like I was more splurgy. I wanted to spend money. I wanted to go out. I wanted to go do things. And you were always proposing cheaper plans and
Mm, I don't know about that.
maybe. Eh, maybe.
I think you had a tendency to suggest things that cost money. Well, I had a tendency to suggest things that didn't necessarily cost money, but that wasn't, like, the point. Like, we both
Right.
enjoy Frisbee golfing, and we like to
Sure.
be outside and be active, where your plans might be more like, "Hey, let's go out to eat together." They're not like, I'm not like, "No, I don't wanna go to Rosalita's tonight,"
Yeah, yeah.
"No tacos for me. Let's stay in and make white people tacos."
Look at me pretending to not be cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we had a much better balance in our lives than this couple.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like well, although if he has a higher net worth than her with a smaller salary, there must be some core of thriftiness in there, right?
Well, he says very minimal lifestyle, but
Yeah.
also we don't know ages here either. He could be older than her, which is why his net worth is slightly higher because he's had a longer time to spend and or to
Right.
save, and she just hasn't
Yeah.
caught up to
No
him yet.
ages. Yep. Yeah, good point. No ages here, so who knows? We do have an update. We talked a bit, no numbers were used. I told him about a bit of my history with money, growing up and such. I told him I love it when he treats me, but I also want to make sure he is saving a bit, at least 5% and investing, and that I don't want him to be digging into savings because he's in a relationship. We talked about maybe hitting FI together someday. Hey,
Okay. It's a good
this seems
start.
like a good story, right? Like they had the conversation. Sounds like they had a real conversation and they came maybe up with a fight together fight plan and they can use that superpower of partnership that we talked with about in the last story, right?
Yeah, but I think there's a bit more to go before everything's in the clear. Like, they need to use real numbers. And also, OP needs to make sure that she's not imposing her will upon
Mm,
OP. I also want to make sure he's saving a bit, at least 5%. Well, that's his decision to make. And if he wants to spend a little bit more on splurges for you, who's to say that he should be saving more, right?
but at what point does that turn if they come together and they say, "Hey, let's hit fi together." At what point can she start saying, "Hey, you don't need to splurge on me. Like, you got me," right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a talk that they need to have together. But yeah, if he's routinely digging into his savings because he's in a relationship and he doesn't have the cash flow to be doing those splurges, then that's a whole nother conversation, right? But as always, you should communicate with your partner.
Mhm. And everything in moderation. As the top commenter here has, fire does not mean living on the breadline just to hit your number faster. Be careful with this. You're going to condition yourself to be unable to spend money. What's the point of it all? You are just going to exist frugally until the day you die, question mark. So this is a topic I know is close to your heart on people
Mhm.
conditioning themselves.
Yep. Yeah, there's a difference between being motivated to save and being petrified of spending money because you're terrified of running out.
Okay, cool. Well, I think it's in general a good news story. OP talked to her partner. They had a conversation. It was real. Uh, Honestly, that's as much as we can ask for on this podcast.
That's kind yeah. That's kind of best case scenario, you know? Either that or two people who are clearly making each other miserable end up not together anymore. That's also kind of
Yeah.
a yeah.
All right, we've got one more story here. This one actually comes on our relationships, but really stays quite on topic. At what point in a relationship should I, 37 male, mention my large amount of savings? I currently have about $1 million in savings, mainly from inheritances and partly from my own savings from work. I'm single, live well within my means, average apartment, car, lifestyle, etc. Although I do go on quite a few vacations, I work full time with a somewhat above average salary, so my lifestyle more or less matches my income. I also have zero debt. I'm planning on using my savings to eventually buy a house and pay for kids' education if I have kids. My question is, at what point in a relationship should I mention my savings? I'm currently single, so this is only hypothetical at this point, but I'm well aware that my savings would be a life-changing amount of money for most people. It would be weird to be with a future girlfriend for several years and never mention it, but I'm not quite sure when would be the best time. And I'm also aware that people with a lot of money tend to be very good at seeing this from other people's point of view. So I was hoping to get some perspective from others here. If your partner had a large secret stash of savings, at what point would you want to hear about it?
So tricky, but also I should start by saying $1 million. So OP came by this money from inheritances, which isn't just I have a high salary and save a lot of money and haven't used it for anything, right? An inheritance is his money paired out.
And he doesn't exude high income, high net worth, right? Like he's not living like a millionaire. He's living like a guy who's making whatever he's making, basically.
He's literally the millionaire next door, right? I definitely wouldn't recommend that he wait until several years. I would probably like if the relationship is serious and he sees somebody with being with him for the rest of his life, then it's time to start having general conversations like, "Hey, just so you know, I had a couple relatives pass away and I have a fair amount of savings that are earmarked for future life goals like buying a house and retirement and kids." And the response to that will be very telling because if somebody's eyes light up like a cartoon character with the green dollar signs in it, like, then that's gonna be a problem, right? And if they start demanding special treatment or gifts and stuff, then cut them loose, right? They're not for you. But if they're like, "Oh, wow, that sounds pretty great. I'm sorry that it came from the loss of your relatives," then that's you can maybe discuss more details later when you're, like, more established in your relationship, but I definitely wouldn't wait for several years.
Right. And I think you made a really good point when you said that he should give those dollars a name, right? This is for a house. This is for kids. This is for retirement. I do have this money. I have plans for it. Those plans could include my future partner, but they're not um, to build a big pool of money to swim around Scrooge McDuck style in, right?
Honestly, I think what OP should do is I think he should just have all of that $1 million in a savings account and then just like casually check his balance at the ATM and accidentally leave the receipt around and just see what happens, right?
Mhm.
That's terrible advice. I'm just being
That's
facetious.
that's
Don't do
really
that.
bad advice.
That's really bad advice. But I would also highly recommend that OP sign a prenup, that kind of
Yeah,
asset behind
I
him.
mean, I don't know if we've talked about prenups on here yet, but, like, prenups are not a bad idea. Like, we are pro prenup. Everyone has a prenup. Some of them are written by the government. Other people wrote their own, so
Say that
it's
10 times fast. Pro prenup, pro prenup.
but, yeah, I think in this case, especially when the source of the money is so specifically his, right? It's not like they built this savings together as a couple. It's a different flavor of money, I think.
Yeah, but OP's not like super loud about it, and he's not driving around in a Lambo or with the biggest brand name shoes on and dripping in logos of all kinds and chains and grills in his mouth. He's just being a normal dude. And so honestly, he should just keep on being a normal dude. And I think he'd probably be pretty okay. I mean, your partner sitting you down and saying, I need to have a talk with you about money. And you're like, oh God, are you drowning in student loan debt? Or like, are you declaring bankruptcy? Like, oh, actually, I have $1 million in savings. What is
Well, that's an interesting take too, because if he was $1 million in debt, that needs to come to surface, I think, faster than I've got $1 million saved for a rainy day. Don't you
yeah,
think? Like it
yeah,
feels different, right? To
yep,
hide that.
100%. And again, that differs between, hey, I'm a dentist and I had to buy my practice and tools outright, so I have $1 million in debt. On the other hand, I bring in $2 million a year. It's all subject. Like, how do you end up in $1 million of debt? It's probably some sort of career vocational
Yeah.
training.
Once again, good to have names for those dollars or those debts, right? So you can really frame that conversation whenever you bring it up to your partner.
Yeah. Yep. But again, you should just have conversations with your
Conversations
partner.
with your partner. We need like a theme song for a conversation partner.
Find find somebody who can carry a better tune than you and me, though. We're kinda prison singers. We're always behind a few bars. We can never find the right key, and, we have no idea how long the sentence is gonna be.
There-
I would just like to point out that most of the comments agree with our assessment. We try not to look at the comments until later on, so we're not swayed one way or the other. But, yeah, lots of people say when you start cohabitating or when you start ring shopping or talking about engagement, that's probably a pretty good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think that revealing this on the other side of a marriage is a tremendously bad idea.
Yeah, somebody said probably around engagement, preferably after it's confirmed with a yes so it doesn't sway things. I made the mistake once of letting a partner know how much I make earlier on in a relationship, and what ended up happening, what had happened was I paid for a lot. They borrowed more money from me than I was comfortable with. Oh, the hindsight of the asshole tax and youth. And I ended up getting used even though I thought I was on my guard for it. So don't do it too soon. Even if it's the nicest person in the world. It's easy to fall into the trap of helping out here and there because you have savings. And then one day you wake up and you have no savings and no partner.
Oof. Cautionary tale.
Yeah, but I think phrasing is very important. Like, if you sit down and you say, "Hey, I want to sign a prenup because I think that you're going to spend all this money," that's probably not a great way to attach that. But if you say, "Hey, I have all of these things for the future taken care of, and I want to make sure that is the case, that those are protected and go to the assigned category," then It's probably a slightly better way to approach it.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting twist on this story here, is because if OP is uncomfortable having money discussions during the relationship because of this like secret he's hiding, will it be more difficult for him to get to prenup? I think prenup for us was easy because we were talking money all the time, right? We knew each other's situation, we knew each other's feelings on it. And if you go into this holding this secret and not building that open, honest communication, rapport with your partner, it's going to get tough to get to the first time you talk about money is prenup. That's rough.
Yeah. But according to Ramit, the time that people have money conversations is when they get married, when they buy a house, and when they have kids. So people are not weirdos like us who love to
Right.
talk about
Yeah, not
money and
everybody.
talk about money all the time.
But you're also talking to a bunch of people listening to a podcast about people talking about money, which is that
Welcome, all you fellow weirdos. We love to have you here, and we appreciate the fact that you are giving your time to listen to us talk about money and relationships.
There you go. Cool. Well, those were pretty interesting topics, or 300 stories that were actually all lined up in the same topic. I don't know how many times we can get the moons to align on that. I think most of our episodes are going to be more back and forth on different topics, but that was fun to kind of stay. And I think we dug in, we backtracked, so that was kind of fun. I liked it.
I like it.
We'll try to repeat that eventually if we get it lined up. If anyone has a topic they'd like us to try to tackle, just let us know at firetakespod@gmail.com. Additionally, we have a landing page website at firetakespod.com. You can come and you can find any links to basically wherever we are if you hop on that site.
We also now have an Instagram.
Oh yeah, we got an Instagram. Maybe you'll even see something on the shorts.
We
Is
on
it
the
called?
gram, yo.
Yeah. What is it? Instagram Reels. Sorry, it's Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok.
You can be on TikTok. I won't be on TikTok.
Oh, you might be on TikTok if I put you on TikTok.
Yeah, but I won't have an account, so that's different.
Oh yeah, you won't see each other.
We don't have time to get into a dislike of TikTok here on this one. That's a topic for another day, potentially, when we talk about security concerns and intra-country relations. This has been Tim and Gwen. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you later.
All right. Thank you. Thanks again for listening. This has been the Fire Takes podcast. This is an entertainment podcast, and Gwen and I are not financial planners. You can reach us at firetakespod@gmail.com or check us out at reddit.com/r/firetakes. See more from Gwen at fierymillennials.com. Thanks all.